Where are you?
Allison Janney, back last November you joined us, and you had just started Mom, really, and Masters of Sex had just started airing, and we told you then you might be getting two Emmy nominations a few months later, and here you are, and you've got them both.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at that interview. I love that you may have been the first person to say. You have to have been the first person to say that. So thank you for being prescient.
Well, I went back and watched it a little earlier this afternoon because I didn't want to repeat the same questions.
Yeah.
But let's talk about both of those, if you don't mind. It's been a while. In fact, even though you've been on TV quite a bit in your career, all six of your past nominations were for The West Wing, so it's nice to have different kinds of work recognized by the Academy.
Yes, it is, and especially these two different roles that I'm very thankful that they were so completely different. I think it would have been pretty impossible if they were close, if the characters were close in characteristics.
I can't even imagine if they lived in the same time frame in the same neighborhood that Bonnie and Margaret would even talk to each other.
No, I don't think they'd be good friends. I don't think they'd get on at all. Yeah, as a matter of fact, to say, well, Margaret is closer to who I really am than Bonnie is, but Bonnie's a lot of fun to play because she is so different. I mean, I'm shocked at the things I get to say and do, and it's just fun to play someone who doesn't care what anybody thinks about them. It's very liberating.
When you've got that kind of character that is over the top and as you say, liberating, with that studio audience that you've got in front of you, does that make it even easier to do in a way that they kind of give you all that energy?
They do. They egg me on. When I hear, when I get the laughter for something that I've been nervous about saying and wondering how people are going to react to it. When I hear that live laughter, just gives me confidence and makes me sort of want to go out on that limb and further and keep sawing it until I drop.
Well, one of the early episodes from the season, this was something we talked about last November, winds up being your Emmy episode submission, and that's Estrogen and a Hearty Breakfast, where you get to defend your granddaughter, you're going through menopause, you sing Son of a Preacher Man. I mean, it's got a lot of bells and whistles to that particular performance.
Yes,
Why did that wind up being the one that you wanted?
well, I had to ask the people who work with me and friends for their opinions because I'm not always the best judge of my work. I find I have no idea what's So I liked that one. I also like the one where Bonnie goes off the wagon and talks about a little bit about her childhood, and I thought that was a really powerful episode for me. But most people whose opinion I asked said the estrogen and the menopause one. So I went, okay, I'll go with what you guys say. So I felt confident with the decision, and I loved everything I got to do in that episode, especially singing "Son of a Preacher Man." I mean, I I really enjoyed everything I got to do in that. Throwing things
Well,
out the window and at the very end, that was just it was a lot of fun.
well, voters really love range, they love impact. You certainly have both of those. In a comedy category, they love laughter. Which is why sometimes the dramedy kind of shows that try to fit into comedy don't always win Emmys. They're great shows, but they don't have the laugh out loud stuff.
Right, right. Yeah, we have a lot of that in this show, and I love, as you say, the range I get to show. Playing this character is a great gift that Chuck has given us and the writers. It's wonderful.
Well, the nice thing about that episode is it also has context for, let's say you've got some voters on your panel that haven't seen the show, just straight up over the top, like somebody eating just dessert for dinner. That I don't think would go over as well, but you get to defend your granddaughter against the very, very conservative parents of her boyfriend, and I
Yes.
think voters will eat that up. I mean, that shows a side of you that's different than the other part that they saw during the episode.
Yes, truly. Bonnie is got great character, and she's a woman who will, in spite of her previous bad choices, she's there for her family and will fight for them and stand up for them, and it's a wonderful quality she has. You don't
And now
mess
on
with women.
Masters, I'm sorry, on Masters playing Margaret, your episode there is Brave New World, and we also chatted about that last November, that being the episode where you first go to Dr. Masters to talk about trying to liven up your life. You feel like you find out for sure you haven't experienced some things that most other women have. Tell us again about that experience and why that particular one resonated with you.
Well, Margaret slowly finds out through the mahjong games that she has with her girlfriends that she finds out about the sex study that it's going on at the university where her husband, Beau Bridges, is the provost, and she just starts hearing things and realizing that she doesn't have any of those things, and the feelings that the women are talking about having in bed with sex, and she starts to feel maybe there's something lacking in her marriage, and she, I think it's that discovery and trying to, realizing, they sleep in separate bedrooms. Her husband, Margaret and Bart and Scully sleep in separate bedrooms, and then she starts noticing things. When he comes in to kiss her goodnight, he just kisses her on the forehead, and there's just no sexual energy with them anymore, and she wonders if there ever was, and she starts to question a lot of things, and then she gets up the courage to go in and interview to be part of this study. And I can't imagine, the drive there. She probably turned around 10 times before she committed to going, and every step of that way was just incredibly difficult for her. And playing that scene was just, I loved playing that. I don't know. A lot of it was my mother, thinking about her. She would have been the same age Margaret Scully was. Actually, she would have been younger, but everything about that part, I think about my mother, someone who's so proper and so graceful and lovely and never wants to talk about anything that's upsetting to anyone, and just be, very mannered, and to have to talk about what she has to talk about just made it so much fun to play because of the juxtaposition of the talking about sex, and then you just didn't talk about sex then. You hardly talk about it these days too, but back then, it was just taboo. So it was enormously fun to play, and Michael and Lizzie just laughed, and I loved how you laugh at her, but then you just that walk down the hallway and into the elevator, you just see the pain of someone just feeling so inadequate and just a failure, and all of us are insecure about certain things about ourselves that you can relate to Margaret's problem there, relate to her feeling inadequate.
Well, in our chat room, Kevin Baker says he considers Brave New World to be a career best achievement for you.
Oh, that's lovely. It's one of my favorites, truly one of my favorite parts I've ever played, and certainly for the journey, the emotional journey that Margaret Scully goes on, and the writing, and it was some of the best challenges I've ever had acting-wise. The full boat of acting challenges, from emotional to physical, and especially physical. I mean, my gosh, that was and it is easy doing sex scenes on camera. Talk about insecurities, but.
Well, he brings up another good point, Kevin Baker, in our chat room again, and that is being any kind of an actor at any age, being able to jump from a mom to a master's of sex within the same, I don't know if you were working on it at the same time, but at least within the same few months. That must be the goal of any actor or actress that works, is to be able to do all kinds of different things.
I think it is. I think it definitely is, and that's certainly the case for me. It's something I've always wanted to do, jump from one thing to another, and I think that I was trained that way, coming from the theater and going from, playing all different sorts of roles. We're doing Fado farce and doing, Arthur Miller and doing Shaw and doing all these different parts that required so many different things from me. I never thought of myself as ever being in a position where I'd be typecast, and I certainly I'm really happy that I haven't been in television or film, and I think some people may only want to think of me as C.J. Craig from The West Wing, but I think this season, or with Mom and Masters, that I'm forcing people to see me in other ways, and hopefully and enjoying what I'm doing. And I'm really lucky to have gotten to do these both at the same time. And it wasn't, once I was a little nervous about it, but once I got I went from Masters to Mom, doing the pilot of Mom, and once I got on the set of Mom and had the script and the everything about it made me feel this feels nothing like Masters of Sex, and I felt more comfortable than I thought I would, jumping back and forth. It was fun.
Irish movie lover forever in our chat room. He brings up the second season of Masters currently airing. Now, you and Bo were in the first episode. Are you coming back at all this season?
No, we're not coming back this season. I know, I'm hoping that they'll bring us back for season 3. I heard some talk of that, but I haven't, I don't know yet. But I think they've sent them, Barton and Margaret away to figure out their lives, what they're going to do. So, but no more.
Probably was a combination of him leaving that job, but also you and Bo were so busy. I mean, they couldn't probably get you for too long.
I know. What are the odds that we both would be on, get CBS sitcoms? It's pretty funny. But yeah, I think there probably were some scheduling things, and but I hope we can work it out. And since CBS and Showtime are, under the same umbrella, I think they'll be amenable to that. Should that, come about.
If they can figure out the plot lines to make that work, that would always be good. And I got to interview Bo back a few weeks ago, and he was a real charmer on his interview as well.
He's lovely. It was my first time working with him, and he was just really generous and sweet. It was very easy to work with him, and I always think it's the theater background and the love of acting. I mean, his family is such a huge acting family, and he gave me books that I think his father had written about acting, or there were some acting books he shared with me, and I loved them, and he just loves actors and loves what he does, so it was fun to work with him.
Yeah, if we put him on a lie detector, what would you think he would say to this? And this is kind of interesting to me. His 2 TV wives currently are up against each other at the Emmys. You and Margot are up against each other in this drama guest actress.
Margot, she's brilliant. I think, how would he answer that?
He probably wouldn't.
He would plead the fifth. Yeah, he would be a gentleman. He would probably want us both to win.
Yeah, maybe we can have a tie there.
Yeah.
Talking Emmys just for a moment, I was going back to do my research because I was thinking this was correct. Right now, let me tell you, on our website, we have all these predictions and stats and odds, and they're from experts all over the world, and our editors, and thousands of just people that come to visit our site, and you are in first place in both of your categories. We're expecting you to win both Emmys this year. Now, we're not always right, but I'm just saying here on July the 28th, you are in first place in both categories.
It just made me I just got incredibly nervous and excited, and I want to,
And what you're going to love, and I love the way circles come around in life. The last time an actress won 2 in it was one evening for her, but in your case it would be like over, I guess, an 8-day period, the way the categories are divided. But your old co-star, Stockard Channing from The West Wing, did it in 2002.
That would be pretty nice to share that with Stockard. That's amazing.
Well, the other thing it would do is just talking about performance Emmys, not people that, like Tina Fey has 8, but she's gotten a lot of them for producing and writing and so forth. Just talking about people that have won performance Emmys, you've got 4 right now, but if you can get to 6, which we think you will, you'll be in 3rd place all time.
Really?
Cloris Leachman has 8. Then Ed Asner and Mary Tyler Moore have 7. And then there's 3 people that are at 6. You would be tied with them: Art Carney, Tim Conway, and Carl Reiner.
I mean, the thought of being in company with those people is kind of extraordinary. It would certainly make me feel like I chose the right profession, for sure, and make me incredibly proud. That would be. I hope you're.
We've completely embarrassed you now going down this track. But you know, I don't think we're way off base because you did something I haven't seen very often already this summer. You got 2 Critics' Choice Awards in the same night.
I know that was a really just incredibly exciting night, and yeah, that was I didn't expect that at all, and then it was a pretty fun night to be me. It was great.
I want to talk also about SAG Awards. We didn't chat about that at all last November. You've got 6 of those already. 4 for The West Wing, 1 for American Beauty, and 1 for The Help. Take me back to that first SAG Awards that you go to, though. You've been a working actor at that point for a while, and I'm sure they've all been, really wonderful experiences. But I'm sure the first one, to get something from your peers in SAG, I'm sure meant a whole lot to you.
Well, it did, and I remember my acceptance speech for that SAG award because I'll never forget it. I shared the story. I decided to do something personal, and I shared how I'd, never been comfortable saying I was an actress before, and I had used to, say I was something else. I've just always sort of tried to avoid calling myself an actress because I didn't feel like I could call myself one, and I just talked about how I'd gone to take an aptitude test to find out what else I could possibly do in the world because I just wasn't making it as an actress, and they said I'd be a great systems analyst. And I said that I didn't know what that was, so that I was going to stay an actress. And I'm glad now. I feel like in this moment I can say my name is Allison Janney and I'm an actress. And that was like my first speech, and it was it meant a lot to people, and it gave actors out there hope who maybe because I got started so late my career in terms of getting off the ground, and I just kept sticking to it, and just right before I quit, something would draw me back in, and but that was very memorable. That first SAG award, it's the greatest, highest compliment to be, recognized by your peers. So it's pretty special.
Well, along those lines, in our chat room, Juliana Forrest, I hope I'm saying that right, wants to know, do you have, I'm sure you get this a lot, but do you have any advice that you could share with a young actor? Anything you wish someone had told you when you were starting?
I guess to be patient and not take the rejection so hard, and just use it as to build your strength as an actor, and look at every audition as a chance to act, and to leave your fear outside, or if you can't, use it to your advantage, and soak up everything, and don't just be open to be a sponge, and try every technique. I mean, I've studied a lot of different places, whatever works, and I guess the best advice is just to have good friends who can get you through the tough times, and keep, I don't know. I took so many different acting classes, and I was in so many different theater companies. I just kept myself connected to it, and somehow, even if I wasn't getting paid for it, I was doing it, and one thing, opened another door. Working in doing a play, off Broadway play, I met, the guy who became my manager, and then just keeping. This is really a jumbled piece of advice, right? But basically, I don't know what I'm saying. Try to keep positive and keep yourself moving forward.
Well, in any walk of life, what you're saying is true. You don't know by joining this committee, or going to see this group, or like you say, classes, or you don't know who you're going to meet. It doesn't even really matter what you learn. It's the connections that you make.
Yes, and that's served me well, and more than having an agent or anything, is all the connections I've made just doing all the off Broadway theater, and the people who worked with me way back, who remember you. It's those friendships and connections you made that served me very well as I got older.
Another question in the chat room: how do you go about creating your characters and remaining consistent when you have a lot of multiple takes and lengthy setups and long breaks? That comes from Milwaukee Kell.
That's interesting. How do I keep my characters as
how do you keep your focus and energy and all that? Because you know as well as anybody that maybe not on a mom where you're in front of an audience, but certainly on films. I mean, it can be.
Yeah,
I remember some actor a long time ago saying, "They don't pay me for the acting; they pay me for the waiting."
yeah, it's true. There's a lot of stuff that will take your attention and your focus and your energy away on a film set. The extreme hours of waiting around. You're finally about to do the scene and you feel emotionally ready, and then a light goes out or something happens. You can't control anything. And I think that I've learned to just realize that and be in the moment as best I can and trust that I did my work and know my lines, and I love giving different takes, and I will always give a director a different take every different, not a different character every take, but a slightly different performance every take, just because by virtue of being in the moment and listening, and different things happened in each time. And I mean, my training was all about the listening and answering and being in the moment, the Sanford Meisner technique. And if you know what the scene's about, you've done your homework, you know what the emotional demands are, and physical, you know where you are in the scene, and then you just let it all go and just be there in the moment and listen and answer, and things happen and they're truthful, and every time you do it, it'll be different every time, and yet believable and grounded in reality.
Well, I think you take your job very seriously. You are, as you say, when you made that speech a long time ago, you are an actor. But one thing I love, I always ask this question to anybody I know that's in the Film Academy, and I noticed, looking back through my list, you joined that, I guess, in '08, became a member. So you've been voting on that a few years on the Oscars, and I've asked this question to probably 30 different Oscar voters. You don't have to name names if you don't want to, but what catches your attention? What kinds of performances are you looking for that you want to nominate or that you want to give the award to?
I'd say they're usually, like, I thought Cate Blanchett's work was extraordinary in the Woody Allen movie, which I'm forgetting the name of right now. Blue Jasmine. Extraordinary in every way, in her. It was such a different character for her. Her emotional life, her fragility, her making me laugh. It was just all around a beautiful performance with everything in there. I thought she was stunning. I definitely look for characters or roles that I mean, it's the perfect combination of the actor with the role. The role is enormous, an enormous factor, who the character is they're playing, and how you relate to it, if you feel passion, if you feel moved by that character, and the actor's performance is what throws it over the fence, so to speak, if they bring the right emotion to the role. And that she's the first person I thought of, because that part really blew me away, her performance.
And what do you do? I was thinking back this. I asked somebody this a few weeks ago. This particular year on lead actor in a film, I just thought all 5 guys were so phenomenal, between McConaughey and Bruce Dern and Leo DiCaprio and Chiwetel and Christian Bale. If I had been a voter, I would have just stared at the ballot going, I don't know what to do.
I know. I agree with you. That was an extraordinary category, and it is. It's so awful that only one person can take home the trophy when they all are deserving. I don't know.
You just throw a dart at that particular spot when it comes down to it.
There's just always one thing. If you have to, you do that. Like, if you had to, if you were to be thrown off a cliff, if you didn't make that decision right now, you make it. You play those games with yourself. Like, there's got to be one that comes to the top.
Well, in addition to you've got 2 Emmy events. You're gonna have to wear 2 dresses this year because it's 2 different nights. You've also got Get On Up. And last November, when we talked to you, you were just about to fly here to Mississippi, where I live, to shoot your part in that. How big is your part in that? And just tell us a little bit about the movie.
Listen, Tate Taylor and I have who is the director of Get On Up, and he's also was the director on The Help. he and I have been friends for over 15 years, and did a lot of little movies when he first started out, and I've been in every single movie he's done. So when this film came up, he was like, "There's no part for you in it, but there's this one. If you just come down and do this, I play this racist woman in this one scene." And of course I said I'd do it because I just love Tate and wanted to be part of it. So I'm really, I could have been uncredited role really because it's just a little. I just pop in and up in it briefly for our, friendship and our, the history that we have together. He's done an amazing job with it, though. I saw it. It's a beautiful masterpiece. It's a wonderful collage of just a montage of of James Brown's life, and you sort of see it all happening all at once, all throughout the whole film, the beginning, middle, and end. It's beautifully done, and I had a great time in Mississippi. In Natchez I love the South, so I had a great time, and Tate certainly does. I think he wants to direct all of his movies in Mississippi, so I'll be down there
anytime you want. We'll feed you well, and if you can stay in the heat for a few days.
I'll have some milk punch and talk about bugs and armadillos and peacocks.
Well, it sounds like I know where at least a few of your nominating votes are going to go this December when you've got those Oscar ballots.
Yes.
If you like that movie that much.
Yeah, I love it. He did a great job. And
well, that's out here in August, right?
I'm sorry?
That is released here in August, so very soon.
Yeah. Yes, August 1st, I think.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, listen, thank you so much. Good luck at both ceremonies, and you may be climbing into Emmy history, Emmy royalty here if you can get both of them this year.
Yes, I would love to do that just for you.
We want a picture of you holding both of them. That's all we care for.
Okay, you got it. That happens, I'm doing it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.